So hey guys, you have seen my first part of the Apple iPhone 6s, 6s Plus or just regular iOS 9 tips and tricks, and now we have here the second part coming up with more awesome features like 12, 13 tips for you guys that you can do with your new phone or the old phone, since now we will show you a lot of Siri features and other cool stuff that wasn't available before. So the first thing that I want to show you is how to save battery, since that's of course always an essential thing that you want to do. Even though we have 87% right now, we can just go to the settings, and here under the battery option on the bottom there is now something called low power mode. Now low power mode allows you to turn off certain features, like that apps in the background shouldn't refresh anymore, like your Instagram updates and stuff like that. You won't get that many notifications anymore, and you have the visual effects and also of course Hey Siri and other things also turned off, which will allow you to just preserve your battery. Like you can see here that we have a lot of battery here spent, for example, on the camera. That's because we had it on yesterday for almost 1.5 hours shooting a time lapse. So Apple is telling you more about your usage in the last 24 hours or less. So that's quite nice to have, but what you can also do is use your network even better. So if you are in Wi-Fi at home but you don't have the perfect reception, sometimes you are in the Wi-Fi, sometimes you are not. That happens to me in my room sometimes, but you just want to chat with somebody. You can also set that up a little bit better. If you go to Wi-Fi, you have now here the ask to join networks feature, which is actually not what I wanted to show you. I want to show you Wi-Fi Assist, which you can search for, of course, obviously in your search feature here, or you can't. Maybe it's under mobile data. If you have your SIM card built in or put in, you can enable that. You can use your 3G also when the Wi-Fi is not as good, so, or 4G also, so that would be available here in the mobile data section, which is not available right now since I don't have a SIM card inside, so sorry about that right now. So let's go to the next feature, which is not about 3G Wi-Fi or anything like that, but about easier selection of your pictures, photos and everything, because before you can just say, you were able to say select, and then you were able to select here certain pictures manually. But maybe you shot a whole bunch of pictures by accident and you want to select them even faster, so now you can just drag your finger around here to the left or to the right to deselect, or doesn't matter, you can also select them this way, but yeah, you can now select everything here in order any way you want, and you don't have to use the select all feature anymore, which you obviously don't want to do if you have multiple hundreds of pictures, but this is quite nice. Now also quite tiny little thing, a feature, but quite handy, as is with the 3D touch for the camera. One of my favorite features here, that you can, for example, take right away a video, don't have to go into the camera, then move to the left or right, or from some other feature here to video to do whatever you want, since that takes a lot longer than just 3D touching here this and then of course selecting any feature you want. That obviously only works on the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus, the quick capture feature. What you can do also is have an overview over awesome cities on the world with the fly through and walkthrough feature here by Apple. So let me just zoom out a little bit, or actually not zoom out, but just let me just go here to the regular map. Here we go, and let's not take a look at Germany, maybe England. So I want to go to Cork, and you can see here these tiny little 3D icons, and these are quite cool because you can just touch them and then you can say fly over Cork in Ireland. So then you will have a nice little 3D map of the whole city, and not only the city, but the map will also tell you, the Apple map, what to look at, and it will show you a close-up picture like you would be there. So you can see here a nice little festive building, which is probably really old. Then we will fly over to some other place. You can see it's always loading something, but all the buildings are in 3D and you can stop anytime, browse around the city. there seems to be a nice little church, St. Van Barrows Castle. And so on. So you have really an awesome, nice little feature here called Fly Over and Walk Through. Walk Through, of course, obviously I want to see this church. Maybe I can just go here and look at it from all sides. And you can see how really fast this is and fun. And if I let it go, it will continue here with the next important building. That's Red Abbey Tower, which is this building probably, I guess. Not that interesting, but I mean, Cork is not that big of a city. I could do this, of course, also for US cities. If you want to pause it at any time, you can just say here end, and then it will let you go over anything yourself. And my next tip and trick is, which is available in Safari and Maps, is this little feature here, which enables you to take usually notes. Come on. Oh, so I have to search for a place. Let's just search for Cologne. And then we could also just here hit this little button and say we want to take a note about a certain address, for example, from a hotel, and then you have it saved in your notes offline, which is quite handy. You can do the same thing also in Safari. So if you have Safari open and you're on a website, like for example my Hungarian website here, and you have an article open, for example, you can say you want to open it up in notes later. So you can also just give yourself a note that you want to just look for this later, and you can of course obviously also use again here your trackpad feature I showed you in the first part with 3D Touch. So again, this is quite a nice feature also, but next up is in-app search, which is even better if you ask me with Hey Siri, which enables you to, for example, you can see that as again one of my tips, definitely turn on Hey Siri. It's quite handy to just have Siri always available for you when the screen is always offline, for example, so off. So the screen is off, the phone is just on your table, and you want to know the weather outside because you want to get dressed. Hey Siri, what's the weather in Munich?
Today, the temperature will range between 5 degrees.
You can see I didn't have to turn the phone off, no nothing, and this is really quite handy, especially, as I said, if you want to do in-app search, for example. Show me all my notes on Bluetooth.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first. Looking for Bluetooth in your notes. Sorry, there aren't any notes matching Bluetooth.
Alright, so let's look for something else. Look for all my notes on Sony.
You don't have any notes matching Sony.
It's quite strange because I actually do, and it worked before. But anyhow, this also works, for example, the in-app search for music. So I can just say, for example, play me the song Happy.
Playing this will clear your up next queue. Should I proceed?
Yes. And what I can do also now, another tip, is play the whole album by Pharrell, for example, by just saying, play me the rest of this album. And then after it finishes this song, it will play me the whole album by Pharrell here, which is quite cool. And that's what was actually my cue before, which was now cleared here by Siri, which is again quite handy if you ask me. What Siri can also do is though look for now locations and dates in your calendar, and not only calendar, but of course in your album. So what I can do is show me all the pictures from September. And you can see now here, let me actually turn down the music. You can see here now all the pictures that I took in September. There's also a bunch on Oktoberfest. I tried searching for the location where Oktoberfest is here in Munich, but that doesn't work. But usually it works also with, for example, show me all the pictures in Berlin, show me all the pictures from my holiday, and so on. You have seen that feature actually shown off live at the Apple keynote, which is quite a handy feature. And one feature, of course all these features can be handy if you use them every day, are, for example, if you have a new email open. You can see here I started to write a new email, and you start here typing something, and now you want to send maybe a picture from that Oktoberfest, you don't have to long press anymore and then go here to the right. To add attachment, what you can do now is just double tap and then you have here also add attachment, a little bit quicker and faster to reach. Also, selecting the whole word is now available with 3D touch. You don't have to double tap that anymore. You can just 3D touch it for selecting a whole word, which can be handy if you ask me to delete or do anything else with that. So we're almost through. My last feature is again with Siri that you can look for sports scores. Not that interesting, but with Hey Siri it is always handy when you use that here this way. Hey Siri, show me all the NFL scores from the weekend.
Getting the latest schedule for the NFL. Here are the scores from the NFL for Week 3. The Bills trounced the Dolphins by a score of 41-14.
And so on.
By the Seahawks. The final score was 26.
Of course, you can obviously just look for one of these teams or one of these scores, but this was, I think, a little bit more interesting. And yeah, we are almost through. One last feature, again, I cannot show you because I don't have my SIM card inside, and that's the a feature which is called the unknown caller ID. So if you have, for example, just a phone call by somebody who called you and you don't know the number, but you maybe have talked to the person already before via email and they had their email address in there or their phone number in their email inside, Apple will tell you maybe the person with this phone call, phone number which was in the email is calling you without you having to save the contact on your phone. So that's quite handy. The unknown caller ID working through emails and through other apps could be handy, could be unhandy. But yeah, this is also one of the features that the new iOS 9 now features. So thank you much for tuning in. This was just a second tips and tricks guide here from me. There's of course a lot more to discover and look for under the new iPhones and with the new iOS 9. So thank you much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe for more information, of course, on anything that you need. My name is Balazs and thank you much for watching.